in the name of two American Baha'is were presented by Dr. Let's see if I can say his name correct. Rokushiro Masujima, who was a friend of Ms. Alexander and who was close to the faith. He had access to the imperial household. Shoghi Effendi was asked to write something to be sent with the books. The message sent accompanying the books was, "May the pursuit of the Baha'i literature enable your Imperial Majesty to appreciate the sublimity and the penetrative power of the Baha'ullah's revelation and inspire you on this auspicious occasion to arise for its worldwide recognition and triumph." It continues, "The books arrived after coronations, ceremonies, so the presentation was delayed." On May 22nd of the following year, Dr. Masujima received a letter from the minister of the imperial household that the 7 books had been presented to the emperor that day. During World War II, the palace did not suffer destructions, so undoubtedly the books and the messages were still there, with the other coronation gifts. In 1930, the great Baha'i teacher Miss Martha Ruth visited Japan. She sent 2 gifts to the emperor, a small Persian rug and a sheet of holy writings, written in Persian script in the form of a beautiful bird. Accompanying the gift was a cable from Shoghi Effendi, which read, "Martha Ruth Care, American Embassy, Tokyo, kindly transmit His Imperial Majesty Tokyo, Japan, on behalf of myself and the Baha'is world over, expressions of our deepest love as well as assurance of heartfelt prayers for his well-being and prosperity of his ancient realm." This kind of a prayer of well-wishing was done for 2 kings. One, the king of Japan, and the next one, Queen George III. But, Baha'u'llah says, may the realm stays in that, I don't know, it's Baha'u'llah or Abdul Baha. He says, may the kingdom may continue, something to that effect, in that dynasty. I'm continuing with the book. Japan, after recovery from the destruction of the World War, shows prosperity that Guardian prayed for. Guardian means Shoghi Effendi. And the emperor, active and healthy until the end, had a very long and fruitful reign. In reality, those books must have affected His Highness, because you know of what kind of a proud, if there is anywhere pride in the world, nothing can rival those of the Japanese pride, especially at the imperial level. But this amazing, emperor of Japan, he went around the world. He came as a General Ferdinand at a time when this country just fell into the war. I think he saw that how, from something so bad as war, it began, Who knows who the fault is to only God knows. But whatever it was, the conclusion was not so bad. This is one of the actually writing of Baha'u'llah. He says that a spiritual man, if he finds the path, he understands that in the very bad things there are good things. Just turn it around, you see it's not that bad. So that is an answer, I've understood that God is like a father. If the child is very small, they can't argue to him, talk to him, has to punish him, ground him. The child is a little bit bigger, he won't punish He actually talks to you. He tries to teach you. So tsunami and things like that is a way of God, of that big kami. He talks to you that, you know, you have created a minefield. You stepped on it, and this is what happens. He said that you're not thinking about each other very well. You're not thinking about your surroundings. You're too much, you know, brooding in yourself and this material, you know, jail that you have created for yourself. But if they accept that they're grown up, God doesn't do it like that. He has a message called Baha'i faith. He will actually come and talk to you to see if you want to accept to go through it. I like one of the teaching of Mao, your neighbors, that he looks at China, as the whole China, as one organic being. He says the republic of this is the people, he says. Baha'ullah's teaching extends the whole planet, but the same way. He says the whole planet is one being. So Japan as a whole being, as it is, very well organized, I think after China, you can say Japan is right there. That they are, as a nation, they're one. Has shown a lot of economical leadership in the world right now. For the surrounding areas, as you can see, all these economies picking up because of their leaderships, whether it's in Korea or China or Taiwan or Vietnam, name it. They have to extend this in a social and political ways farther than this. See what they can do for these two Koreas, that they can come together as one country. No. Can they do this? You are capable of doing it. It is one of the good things. Once you do these kind of things, expending around, you know, time and money and effort, you buy insurance. Because you're creating good things. Automatically tsunamis and everything else that as a corrective measures, it will be aborted. So the last writing here is of the Shogi Effendi. There's one more writing. I'd like to read that too. It says, quote, "The fire of the love of God shall assuredly set Japan afire. And let us arise now at this moment with increased and renewed confidence in his saying, that we may assure and hasten the advent of so glorious an era in the history of that ancient land." Please be proud if you want to, because God is on your side. But are you on the side of God, you see? I've said to the English people too, I'm going to say that to you as well. And like all the revolution that happened, Japan and England, they kept the kingdom. I don't know who was the revolutionary guy, but he kept it. And I think the grandfather of Hirohito must have been Emperor Meiji, that he restored the power of the king to become an active role. And Japan became a superpower, start right there. So there is something very beneficial and good in having a king. Why? Because, as you said yourself in your Shintoism, the king is really the descendant of God. Translation, that manifesting the power of God, not his body, of course. Kami doesn't have a body to make the body. He just affects the body. And ironically, Islam and Baha'i faith agrees with that too. So there is a moral authority that the Prime Minister of Japan and a politician, they cannot do it. Only the Emperor can, as he did in the Second World War. It's such an effect on the people. We should not kill this, try to translate what it means. So if the family, imperial family, take a seriously active role in coming on television every week, give people lessons of hope. I so much loved it during the tsunami when His Highness, the Emperor, came and spoke to people. So simple, so easy. I just felt the spirituality in His Highness. If that could be extended, so many of these children, Japanese children, and so on, they could come contact and touch that, divinity. So ancient, so pure. No one has it as Shobif and this is. So, let's understand this role of the kingdom, which is a privilege to you to have it. Let's get deeper into it. Let's understand the Baha'i faith. I've written it somewhere. There was a, in my note, it was the Prince, again, I apologize for my pronunciation of Japanese word, even my English is not good. Shotoko, the Prince Shotoko, who actually recognized Buddhism and Buddha and made it official in Japan. I'm waiting for a prince like that to, excuse me, to understand the Buddha of the time, the Baha'ullah, and introduce it to the Japanese. Baha'u'llah is amazing. In the language of Buddha, and all the language of all other prophets, he actually refers to the West. West of Bengal would be Iran. And Israel, he says, in the Holy Land, in the West, Amit Abha, he refers to. Amit Abha means Baha'u'llah. Abha is the derivation of the word Baha. Well, come. This is a fulfillment of the Buddha, Baha'u'llah is. I give you some of his teachings, without which planet cannot survive. So who are the head of the caravan? England is in the west, Japan is in the east. Will Japan take an active role at the highest authorities to understand where the problem is? Looking for a remedy for themselves by helping the other people. First in the Japan and then take it abroad. Give a purpose beyond making money and paying their big 3 generations mortgage. A different purpose of humanity to the humanity. To be selfish, it is good if you understand what self is. When you say myself, you're saying my mother, my father, my children, my country. Excuse me. My planet. These are all a part of ourself. I brought this before. The humanity is a jigsaw puzzle. All the pieces put together becomes humanity. If you're thinking that, no, I'm the cell in the heart and I'm going to keep the heart going and I don't care about the rest, well, body will be sick. There's a good heart, but his legs not moving. We are part of the big jigsaw puzzle. Africa is our problem. China is our problem. South America is our problem. Northern Korea is our problem. We're human. We can't ignore it. It's like the weather. You can't say, okay, I'm in Brazil and I'm going to burn the entire Amazon and I don't care about Japan. Of course we're going to get affected. How can we say it's not a universal issue? In the spiritual realm, which is a part of us, and I proved it to you before, explained it, we have a responsibility towards the betterment of not just ourselves as a cell, but towards the whole bigger picture of the body. My cell cannot think in my body just to be good. He has to understand there are other cells in the body. I am just like a cell. I have to think about the rest of the humanity. It's just logical. So if I serve humanity, I am being selfish. If I'm helping other people, I'm being selfish. If you understand really the self, go right ahead. Please be selfish. If you know what it means. We cannot ignore the problems of others if we can think about it. I prayed for the Japanese during the tsunami. I asked God to stop this if He could. Only God knows if He accepts my prayer or not, but I did. So, finally, I'm going to say that you do have a spiritual destiny, a divine country, I agree. You know, an emperor who could be divine. God says that capacity is there. There are so many people in Japan. You don't know how big for them it is if emperor comes and shake their hand. That would be life-changing for them. Or the emperor comes in television and talks about their problems to them, just as His Highness did. Recently, I felt the effect of it. Very effective. I'm speaking to you not as an outsider. I'm speaking to the human. I understand you are part of me, and I'm part of you. I don't have more than this to contribute, but for 30 some odd years I've been thinking about Baha'i faith day and night, and about the people, and about the message, about the path. Therefore, I'm giving it to you, what I know. If it is useful and good for you, you don't need anyone to thank me. I just did my duty. And if it was bad and offensive to you, forgive me. Thank you.